Hello, and welcome to my talk on a career in coding, or more specifically, how I set up my business that offers coding tuition, classes, and workshops to children and teenagers. So who am I? Well, that's a very good question. I'm Jez, and my background for the last 18 or so years has been in software. And especially with the last company I worked with for 15 years, my role was sort of changing. I noticed some subtle changes in what I was doing whilst working for the company. And I was increasingly being asked to go out to clients to help them train and to help them troubleshoot any problems that they had with the software that we were developing. And it wasn't long before I really liked doing this. And I got the idea that, yes, this is what I want to do, be out and about in front of people, helping and teaching and educating people in technology. And so what I wanted to do, I wanted to take that bold step and create a business that allowed me to creatively teach computer coding to a variety of ages and abilities. And so First Coding was born. So today I want to talk about how First Coding began, where it started, where it has its roots. I'll also explain any planning and preparation that I went through in order to take that bold step in setting up the business. I'm also going to talk about the advertising do's and don'ts so that people like yourself don't make the same mistakes I did, and hopefully it makes your journey in setting up new business or running a business more smoother. And I'll also just summarize where the business is today. So let's begin. So where did it start? Well, it started with that idea I had. I was going out and about training clients, and I knew it was something that I wanted to do, but I had no idea how to develop this idea into something. I had no idea about how to run a business, but I'm a strong believer in just giving things a go. You have to start somewhere. Everybody and everything has to start somewhere. Now, I live in a small village in Wiltshire, and I use that as my starting point. I created a little computer club to encourage families to get together and get parents interested in what their children are doing. And so I hired out the village hall, and I charged £4 for people to come along and just spend the afternoon coding and just learning and how to make something in a relaxed and safe environment. Looking back, £4. I had no idea about how I charged for my time or any knowledge of pricing structures at this point. And yeah, before long, I was out of pocket. I was out of pocket. I'll hold my hand up and freely admit that. But the idea had started, and that was the main thing. And it wasn't long, probably about the third or fourth month of doing this, that some of the parents were realizing what I was trying to do, why I was trying to do this. And they encouraged me or pushed me into Salisbury, which is the neighboring city about 10 miles down the road. So I went looking for a community space to host my club, but while still running the club in the village. Incidentally, again, I had no knowledge of effective advertising. So advertising the club was done the old-fashioned way of pinning leaflets on lampposts. And this is how I advertised my club, my workshops in Salisbury as well at the time, when I found a nice community office space in the center of Salisbury. So I rented it out, put up my leaflets around the place. A lot of coffee shops are in Salisbury as well, and the majority of these coffee shops had communal notice boards as well. So this is where my advertising and publicising of this event went. I hosted it over the summer holidays, so advertised it as like a summer holiday coding camp, and yeah, we filled the place. It was sold out, and yeah, just made cool stuff, you know, just gave them the confidence, gave these children the confidence to be able to make their own creations without worrying about breaking anything or having to buy the latest and greatest piece of hardware. And it was really good. It was really good. And it was just firming up the fact that this idea I had was really what I wanted to do. So it was time to start thinking about building a business around this concept. So I took the plunge. Hired some office space, and started advertising what I was offering. And I got 3 people signed up, and it was scary. At that point, it was really scary. People talk about how scary it is when you take that step when you're starting your own business, when you're giving up that safety net to start this unfamiliar step into this unfamiliar situation. And I had 3 people, and I am so grateful for those families who gave me a chance. But it was clear I had to advertise properly. So a few of my friends had started businesses before mine, so I went and asked them, and they all said the same thing: do not panic, do not spend lots of money on magazine and leaflet advertising. It's a waste of money. So what did I do? I panicked, and I spent lots of money on magazine advertising and leaflets too. And if there's the one point that you take away today from this talk, is that you don't panic and you don't spend money on magazine advertising and leaflets. There's a magazine that goes around Wiltshire that gets put in every book bag of every child in primary school. And I took an advert out in that, and it was expensive. And I think the general rule is that someone has to see your advert at least 5 times before they take action. And yeah, it got really expensive. I had my leaflets printed, and here's a picture on the left. Me celebrating with a beer, having got these nice, shiny new leaflets ready. And I had to walk and drive around all the schools hand delivering these. It took a lot of time for very little gain, actually, if I'm honest. One form of advertising that worked was Facebook. I built a business page on Facebook and took out a few targeted ads. Facebook knows so much about its users, and so you can build your ad and you can say, okay, I want my advert to only appear in front of parents who have teenagers who are interested in computing and gaming, who live in the Salisbury area. And it saved me a lot of money. It saved me a lot of time. And I kid you not, literally overnight, the number of inquiries I was getting just soared. And it really kickstarted the business. It really got it rolling. Another way of getting myself out there was to take part in local events, local business events. And as you can see here, I had a little table. I had nothing to show to start with. As you can see, I've got my little homemade arcade system there to help draw people in, but I literally had nothing to show. But again, you have to start somewhere. You have to get out there, and you just have to talk to people. And that's what I did with my little bits of paper and my notice board and banner and my arcade cabinet. So these are the ways that I try to get the business noticed and get the business out there. And it worked. And it really worked. Like I said, overnight, the inquiries came in and we were rolling. It was first coding was rolling, and it was a really nice feeling. Now, it was starting to get serious now, and I needed a proper plan. I needed to properly prepare a plan for like the year ahead or 2 years ahead. And there are lots of places out there that offer free business advice. And so I went with one that the council provided. Now, I'm usually not a big fan of these sort of things. I find them a bit wishy-washy and a bit, well, I don't know. I don't think they serve their purpose, but this one definitely did. I was advised to draw out this grid that you're seeing. You can pause the talk and zoom in and have a look, and it's divided up into various sections, okay, such as key activities, value propositions, customer relationships, revenue streams, that sort of thing. And you can see I've been slapping post-it notes all over of where I think I'm going to meet these requirements. What are my value propositions, like a reassuring and confident and safe learning environment, logical thinking, and challenging in a challenging environment, that sort of thing. And it makes you really think about where you go, what are the different channels you can get some revenues, get some income coming in. Now this looks battered, and it looks battered and dog-eared because it's old. It's about 3 years old. I still have it. It's still on the wall, and it's been on the wall for all those 3 years because I keep looking at it and I keep referring to it. And sometimes I move the post-it notes around to try out ideas or to remind me of certain things that I need to do. But it's battered because I've taken it off the wall and given it to people who are looking to start their own business as well, and they found it incredibly useful to see. The most value I've got out of it is it helped me structure my pricing better. I always have a problem pricing my time, and this made me really think about what I was offering and what I needed to pay for, just basically what my incoming and outgoings were, and it helped me structure my pricing a lot better. It also helped with the advertising. So, for example, with those value propositions, it details what you stand for. And if you can summarize your business in 3 key points, then you're well on your way. Because it's these keywords, these points about your business that you can then weave into the wording and the feel and the message that you're trying to get across in your adverts. So not only are you able to target certain demographics, like parents of teenagers interested in computing, but you're also able to tailor the wording in there to get your message across, to get what you're trying to achieve. It's not a case of just saying, oh, coding classes. It's like, what are the benefits? What are the benefits? What benefits will that child get if they enroll with First Coding and take part in one of their workshops? They get challenged. They're able to make mistakes in a safe environment whilst learning and just making things and just being independent and confident around technology. So yeah, I would definitely recommend drawing out a grid like what you're seeing here. It has proved incredibly valuable. So where is First Coding now? Well, we are running our usual coding courses and workshops. We are First Coding is booked up for months ahead, and that's really nice to know. Not only for peace of mind, but also it helps me manage my money. I know what is going to happen next month. I know roughly how much money is coming in each month, and it allows me to plan better. And yeah, it just allows me to organize my finances, organize my time and resources better, because we're all short on time, aren't we? And it just helps me organize my time a lot better than what I was doing a couple of years ago. I'm producing so many worksheets and handouts for my workshops and classes that I thought, I reckon I could resell these, sort of have them as downloadable material. And there's various platforms out there, sort of educational teaching platforms, that allow you to sell your own resources online. Doesn't matter if you're not in education, maybe you're an artist, for example. There are various tutorial sites which will allow you to download or sell your own guides or teaching material on there. And it doesn't net me a lot of money, if I'm honest, but it certainly helps for any pay for any travel expenses, and it also helps pay for any unexpected costs that arise each month. I'm also teaching in 3 schools. Schools come and go, because sometimes they just need a bit of help in organizing their lessons. Sometimes they might need me to train a couple of teachers to help them on their way. But on average, at any one time, first coding is in about 3 schools at a time. Incidentally, my very first school was based on a recommendation from the parent of one of those original 3 that I first started with. So I'm just incredibly grateful for people who pushed me and, recommended me at the very start, because I'm still reaping the rewards from that, even now, 3.5 years down the line. I'm also in schools giving talks about, well, how I came to be, what's it like being in this industry. But I also have some nice little presentations on the importance of side projects, why it's important to develop your own ideas when you're not at school, for example, in your own time, maybe making your own game or making something in the shed out of wood or something. It's always important to just keep learning, pushing that creativity in your own time. And I have a few booklets and books to back that up as well, which again falls under the whole selling of resources thing. I'm still doing my Facebook ads. They're still rolling. Every now and again, I might need to just push or advertise one of my workshops or events. I have a mailing list now as well. So every person that signs up, I just ask for their permission if I can just pop them on a mailing list. And I use something called MailChimp, which allows me to fire out a monthly newsletter advertising what we've been up to, and allows me to push any new up and coming workshops that I might have that I've still got spaces on, that sort of thing. A mailing list is invaluable, but don't take it for granted. Don't keep sending out email after email after email. I tie it down to about once a month. But yeah, most of my business now comes from word of mouth, and I think that speaks volumes really about the quality of my work. Because if it wasn't a good service that I'm offering, then people wouldn't recommend it. So yeah, most of my business comes from word of mouth and recommendation. So always bear that in mind. Always bear that in mind. So finally, yeah, I'm a great believer in just getting stuck in and doing it. And if you're thinking about starting your own business, then be prepared to work for it. It's not easy. I can tell you now, it's very scary and very daunting. And you have to be prepared to put in a lot of time and effort. I can't stress how much time it takes to get a business up and running. But opportunities will not land at your feet. You have to go and look for them, okay? And to quote an old crazy mad scientist, the future is what you make it, okay? So make it a good one. It is what you make it. And if you can be kind to people, if you can be helpful to people, and if you can be the most positive person in the room at all times, then those three key points will serve, you'll be well on your way to making a decent, solid foundation for any venture that you want to pursue. I hope you found this useful. My name's Jez from First Coding, and thank you very much.